Welcome back to the pod. We have a very special guest today, President Saúl Jiménez-Sandoval. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with both of you.
First, I want to get a little bit of your background. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? And how did you get to Fresno State?
Right. So I was born in Mexico. I was born in Zacatecas. And then from there, my father had been coming back and forth between the Central Valley and Mexico. So then he, in 1980, decided that we would all move. So we all moved in 1980. I grew up in Fowler. I grew up in a tomato farm. And then after that, I'm the eighth of eight. I have 5 sisters, 2 brothers. And they love me very much. And they loved me so much that I needed to get away. So I went away. And then after that, I came back armed with a PhD in Spanish and Portuguese poetry. I taught for about 13 years. After that, I became the Dean of Arts and Humanities, and then the Provost, and then the President in the same institution, in the same region in which I grew up. So it's
amazing.
Pretty special, sort of like growing up within yourself in so many ways. My homegrown.
Homegrown, valley grown.
Yep, that's right.
Now, something that's really cool about your background and your education is how many places you studied in. I was doing some research.
Yeah.
You went all over the place.
I did go all over the place. So I studied, of course, in Irvine. I studied at Cornell. I studied in Madrid. I was in Spain for a while. I studied in Lisbon. Mm-hmm. I did a little bit of a stint in Paris as well. So I've been sort of like around the world, as it were.
Now, how have those experiences shaped the way that you lead?
I think they've shaped me tremendously. I think fundamentally though, my personal drive for the region really influences my leadership style. My drive to really showcase the power of the Valley is really what is the core of my leadership. But these places influenced me because I learned a lot from these places of what to do and what not to do as well. I learned in the classroom when I was teaching, for example, that I was not going to be a top-down, I'm going to trick you on every single question type of professor, right? I would provide my students with a really solid foundation of what is going to be on the midterm or what is going to be on the final. And then I would tell them, study so that you can showcase the pride of who you are on the exam. On the day of the exam, I would tell them, this is your opportunity to shine and to feel good about yourself. Have a smile on your face as you're taking the exam. And I really wanted to emphasize this growth of the individual within the classroom. So that came from my experience being in Europe and seeing these professors that were top down and that would actually put me on the spot and say, do you know what's on page 99, left-hand corner, dealing with blah, blah, blah? And I would be, no, I don't. But, talk to me about the concept and I can engage with you. So I think I learned a lot of how I wanted my students to grow intellectually, emotionally within my classrooms from being at other places.
I love that.
And of course, I also speak some of the languages. I speak Portuguese pretty well, and I speak French, and Spanish is my native language. So I think that also informs me. I'm able to think outside the box because of my linguistic ability of thinking in different languages.
Is there a person who inspired your love for education, or what inspired you to pursue this career?
I think there are many people who have really inspired me along the way. I don't know that I can point to one single individual. I will say that arriving to the U.S., to Fowler specifically, at the age of 10, I was 9, I was about to be 10, I was both excited and afraid because it was a new place and because I wanted to explore, but at the same time I felt like it didn't belong. And I remember going into the Fowler branch library and going into that pretty small library back then, and then feeling sort of like uneasy. I want to know where the good books are, but I don't know whom to ask. Yeah. And this librarian, this Japanese American librarian, came to me and she said, don't worry, this is your library. I'm here to help you find books. Yeah. And she took me to a place where I found like comic books and like things that really like piqued my interest. And it was moments like this, like throughout my entire career in the Fowler, district, that I found really powerful people who saw the potential, the possibility of me, and said, I'm gonna help you by encouraging you. I remember, for example, being in the seventh grade, and my teacher saying to me, "I admire your willingness to learn." And that to me was like a treasure note, right? I mean, an affirmation from one of my teachers saying that, Mr. Alvarez. And I remember, going home and saying to my mom, "Look what I got from my teacher." So I think throughout every moment, I have been able to been incredibly fortunate to have had people who have seen me and have seen the potential in me and have said, we're gonna make it happen for you. We're gonna help you, make it happen for you.
Yeah, I'm from Sanger, another small farm town in the area, and the support that you get. Yep, the Apaches, go Apaches. The support you get from being in a town like that, it really is unmatched.
It is.
Right?
It is. It truly is.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of passion for the students, and you've taught in a lot of different places in different positions at Fresno State, so you've seen that.
I have seen it
a lot.
Yeah.
But I always see you now as president out and about, whether I run into you when I'm walking to class, when I'm walking around tailgates, I see you sometimes walking around, and at the president's booth, which I go and visit you.
Right, that's right.
Say hi and get the little stickers.
Yes,
I have
yes.
all of mine at my desk, actually. But why is it so important to you to have those connections with us students?
You know what I realized, Sophia, that when I became a dean, it was a personal sacrifice for me to say I will no longer be in the classroom. Mm-hmm. I loved seeing the development of the freshman who comes in and is a little anxious and is a little bit uncomfortable and does not know where she or he is going to fit into the grander scheme of things, and then moving on to the sophomore who begins to explore, moving on to the junior who says I belong. This is awesome. I love my friends. I love the atmosphere. I love the games. And then pretty soon they're seniors and they're like, I know exactly what I'm going to do with my degree. I'm going to graduate. Not only do I belong at Fresno State, but Fresno State belongs to me in a very deep cellular DNA, type of level way, right? I loved seeing that development. And I knew that as dean or as an administrator and now as president, I'm not able to see what's happening with the current student of Fresno State because I'm not in the classroom. I'm not interacting with the students. So for me, having a booth on campus and being out and about and actually saying hello to the students, if I'm in the elevator in the library and I'm going up and I have always stickers in my pocket or whatever else, I ask them, how are classes going? Are you prepared for the midterms? How are you doing in terms of whatever, right? So that I can get to know the students. Now, it has been 12 years since I was in the classroom. So that means that there's a disconnect of time and space of 12 years for me that I don't really know what's happening with my current students. The booth and my being out there allows me to say, I kind of have a sense of the pulse of my students nowadays. I kind of, have a sense of the challenges and the opportunities that are out there when you actually get to engage your students. I mean, what a concept, right? I mean, during graduation, I shake their hand and I say, I'm very proud of you. And many of them know me.
Yeah.
And that's meaningful to me, that I get to know them and then they get to know me so that I know exactly where to take Fresno State from this point to the next level of excellence. If I were in my office, cooped up, in my tower and whatever else and not have a connection to students, I think that would be awful for me, specifically.
No, I love seeing you out there. I think
Thanks.
all of us do. And taking selfies together whenever
That's
we run
awesome.
into each
And
other.
you have fun with it. When you did the scooter safety video, I thought that was great.
Yeah. I enjoy meeting people, but it fills my heart with joy to meet Fresno State people. I have to say. I mean, I'm completely passionate about seeing, someone who has graduated from Fresno State 15 years out and then seeing what they've done with that degree. Yeah. And when I became president, the first, about 120 of my previous students wrote to me. And when they wrote to me, congratulations. And I'm like, okay, what's the bottom? What's the signature say, right? And it would be the name, and then they would have a title. And I found, I would teach Spanish for Pete's sake, right? Yeah. But they became family therapists, they became accountants, they became engineers. I was wait, but you have a degree in Spanish. Yeah. How did you go from that to being an honor student, in engineering? And it was everything everything, like the breadth and scope of the potential of a Fresno State degree, like really showcased itself, during that moment. So I love seeing like a student graduate, become an alumna, and then saying to themselves, I'm going to conquer the world. Yep. And I had an incredible experience because I had real professors who interfaced with me and who formed me as an individual, going through my education.
What does it mean to you to lead the university that is in the region that you grew up in?
Gosh, it's a full circle in so many ways. And many times, Taylor, I wake up and I say to myself, am I really like, do I really have this incredible life? Yeah. Do I really have this privilege, this incredible deep honor to lead this institution that permeates every facet of Valley life? Like everything within the Valley is permeated by the power of Fresno State. I've said this before, like 84% of all teachers in the region come from Fresno State. Mm-hmm. So if 84% come from Fresno State, wouldn't you, agree that the stronger Fresno State becomes, the stronger the teaching will be? If the stronger the teaching is, the stronger society will be. The stronger society will be, the stronger the economy will be. I mean, it's one integrated like ecosystem that Fresno State has created here. So for me to have come here at the age of 9, about to be 10, to have grown up in the region, knowing Fresno State, to have family members who have graduated from Fresno State, and to see that I'm giving back in a very intentional way to the region that embraced me when I got here, it's a life mission. It's not a job for me. It's truly a life mission. I'm competitive to a fault. I'm seriously competitive to a fault, right? Because it's not so much about Fresno State, it's about the Central Valley. Yeah. And I see how Fresno State powers the Central Valley. So when we win, whether it be in the pool or in the field or wherever else on the track, we win for the region. Yep. Like Fresno State wins for the entire region. If you were to ask anybody within California or within, the rest of the U.S., Central Valley, give us your top 3 images of Central Valley, right? In California, it'd be Fresno State, it'd be food, and it'd be like, we produce 25% of the nation's food, and it'd be like, great people, right? But Fresno State would be this fundamental, like, element that defines the ethos, that defines the brand that is the Central Valley.
Yep. Pat Hill always says we're the last college town in California, and I love that for us.
It is. It's great. And it's great to see. For me, it fills my heart when I'm at a game and I see the community out there. I'm at a basketball game and I see the community like filling the stands supporting our dogs. Or I'm at a football game and I see this sea of people cheering on themselves. Because it's really themselves, right? I mean, there are players, but these players are an extension of us. It's this branch of the tree that is called, the Central Valley.
Absolutely.
Something I really love about living in the Central Valley is all the cultures, all the languages that are here, and also at Fresno State, you see it everywhere. I have friends from all backgrounds.
You do.
How does it feel for you to lead a school that's shaped by all the diversity?
I love it. I'm a foodie at heart. Yep. I really love good food. Yes. So I will travel to a country or a place just for the food, right?
Yeah, I have to.
Of course, the culture and everything else is important too, but
that's part of it.
The food is it's fundamental, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm so proud that, if you were to ask my kids, what's your favorite food? Of course, they're going to say Greek food. My wife is Greek. They're going to say Mexican food. I'm from Mexico originally, but now I'm from here. And then they're going to say, we love Thai food, right? But, their comfort food is not, I don't think it's like enchiladas, or I don't think it's like, spanakopita, from the Greek world. I think they're going to say, my comfort food is Thai food, right? And I can remember being with my kids hiking and then seeing down, we were like up here, and then we saw down and there was a little party going on. and it was a group of Asian people like having like great time. It seemed like a birthday party because they also had a cake on the table, and then all of a sudden you see the tree with a piñata hanging from it. And I told the kids, okay, we have to stop and take this special moment in, because this is who we are as a society in the Central Valley.
Absolutely.
Right?
At my parents' house, the porch, we have a stick that hangs off where you put a piñata on it.
Right.
And I thought everyone else's like families had that on their porch too. You know what I mean? I was like, wait, where's your piñata hanger?
That's
like,
right.
why don't you have one?
That's right. That's right. So I love interacting and knowing where people come from. Mm-hmm. You know, we're from all backgrounds, and we're also from here, which is awesome as well. And seeing and sharing special food, special memories, special places, so that at the end of the day, what is so special is that, yes, I was born in Mexico, but now I am grounded here, and I would never think of going anywhere else. I'm so proud to be from the Central Valley that it fills me with joy to realize that I belong and that it belongs to me in a very special way.
What does it mean to you to support those Fresno State students that come from all different backgrounds?
I love it. I love being in the booth and receive, other individuals would be like, oh, don't bring me your problems and don't bring me your questions, right? But I think I go back to my own biography, right? I go back to being one of 8, the youngest of 8. We are used to, conversations that are heated. We're used to issues. I mean, we have a saying in Spanish that says, cada cabeza su mundo. Like each head has their own world inside of it, right? And I'm used to engaging, dialoguing, interacting, and then really taking on the issue that needs to be resolved. I don't shy away from the issue and say, well, I'm going to kick the can down the road and that'll be the end of that. That's not who I am. So I love being in the booth, interacting with students, and having a student come up to me and say, there's an issue with my financial aid. I'll give you an example. Financial aid is disbursed 1 week after the fee is due for tuition. Mm-hmm. I was like, wait, what? How's that possible? Yeah. Like, wait, hang on. Seriously? Mm-hmm. So you have to pay first and then you get your financial aid? Like, how did that happen? Yeah. Right? So when I found that out, it was like lightning. Okay, there's a structural issue here that we have to resolve systemically. Mm-hmm. And I don't want this to happen again. We have to postpone the payment of the tuition 1 week after we disperse financial aid, not a week before. I mean, it makes no sense, right? So we had students who said, well, I couldn't pay my tuition on time and therefore I was disenrolled. Not cool. Yep. Like really not cool. Mm-hmm. So it's these type of systemic issues that come to me, but also it's the small issues, right? I couldn't get a class. And I say, well, write to me and I'll see what I can do to find a class for you. Or I need, whatever it might be. And I will try to find that resource for that individual. I feel that, when I was a student, when I was a freshman, when I was a sophomore, when I was a senior even, right? I felt like if I had an issue, I don't think anybody had my back. Like seriously, right? So I want to reverse that. I want the students to know if I have an issue and if I've tried to resolve it and if I have not been able to resolve it, I'm going to go to him and he's going to have my back. Yep. And we're going to try to resolve it, right? And I told my students specifically that if you have an issue, there's nothing that you and I together cannot solve.
That's awesome to support students in that way. And I'm sure they really appreciate it because a lot of them, this is their first time being away from home.
Totally.
Living on their own.
Totally, yeah. I mean, they're learning how to adult, right? They're learning how to become adults. But I think sometimes we take it for granted that, well, we did it, we graduated, therefore you're going to graduate too, right? You're going to go through the same. Why? Why can't we just make it easier for our students to go through and say, I graduated, I had the support, I'm appreciative, and now I'm a Fresno State alumna or alumnus.
And over the course of your career, you've been so supportive of the athletic department here at Fresno State. Why is the athletic department imperative to not only Fresno State, but the community?
You know, I went to a university that did not have a big athletic presence. And then I came to Fresno State as a professor. And when I came here, I realized the power that athletics has within the community. I grew up in Fowler, like I told you. And I can remember like going to a football game in 1984 and just being blown away by the amount of people that showed up, like literally blown away. So I come from the academic side of the house, and the academic side of the house, I think, does not really understand the power that the athletic department brings to the recognition of the degree of Fresno State.
Absolutely.
So I have taken it on to really showcase how it is that athletics specifically elevates the value and the visibility of a Fresno State degree. My Fresno State degree is visible, is higher than other universities within the system or other universities within the UC that do not have the athletic profile that we have. Mm-hmm. And what people don't realize is that within the CSU, within the UC, people fear us. And people admire us, you know, for who we are. When we play UCLA,
they don't want to play us.
They don't want to play us. They don't want to play us.
They don't want to play us. Mm-mm.
They don't want to play us, right? So when we play like other institutions, they're not saying to themselves, you know, that's it, it's in the bag or whatever. No, they respect us highly. And what we don't realize in the Valley, because we always seem to think that we're in the shadow of like the Bay Area or the LA area, right? People don't realize is that other people are looking up to us. Other people want to achieve what we've achieved. Other people want to say, you know what? We want to be like they are. We want to have those 40,600 average fans that show up to the football game. We want to have those 6,000 average students who showed up to last year's games, you know, in the football games.
The Rose Bowl could never.
Could never, right? You have other institutions that have their stadiums that are completely far from the university. That's not who we are. When we go to tailgating here at Fresno State, you see this fabric of the community that comes together and weaves together a really strong, powerful sense of belonging to each other. You see little kids playing, you see people barbecuing, you see people, you know, just being good friends and neighbors and family, right? It's at the core of all of this. So that I have brought people from back east, I've brought people from like all over the place. They've been blown away by what they see in tailgating. They've been blown away by the support that we have here with athletics. So going back to your question, I would say it is an integral part of who we are, of the identity, of the ethos of Fresno State, which permeates into the ethos of the entire Valley. The Valley does not have professional teams. Mm-hmm. We are such an integral part of the identity of this place. When I go out, I'm going to get some milk or whatever else that Mariana tells me to get at the store. What do? I scan the parking lot. I literally scan the parking lot because I want to see license plates and I want to see license frames that say Fresno State, or I want to see shirts or T-shirts or polos out there with Fresno State gear on them, and I see them each and every time, like in random places. I mean, Mariana and Leo, my youngest, were together in Greece, taking a ferry from like the mainland to one of the islands, and in the boat, there was a guy wearing a Fresno State T-shirt.
In Greece?
In Greece, in the boat.
I love that. And when you see someone wearing a 4-paw, it's like, go Dogs, and they're like,
That's right.
go Dogs,
That's
and
right.
it's a very unifying experience.
That's right.
That's happened to me in the airport, actually.
I was in the airport yesterday, waiting to be picked up. This guy pulls up, and he has dropped somebody off, right? He says, "Hey, Mr. President, go Dogs." I mean, it's like, where else do you get that, you know?
Yeah, we're a big family here.
We are indeed.
Yeah, athletics is definitely a big part of Fresno State. That's why I chose to come here, because I had some other schools that I was debating on, but I grew up here. So, Bulldog born, Bulldog bred, and athletics really does make it the full college experience. And that's what I really love about it. But there have been some big decisions that you have been a part of recently here in the athletic space, one being Garrett Classy. So what made you decide that he was the right choice to lead Fresno State athletics?
It was just my gut. It was literally that. Because at the end, you see people and you see that their qualifications are neck to neck. Mm-hmm. Right? I had a really strong group of individuals from which to choose. And at the end, what I appreciate is someone who is transparent with me and someone who is able to say to me, if you hire me, it takes a lot of guts to say that in an interview, by the way. Mm-hmm. If you hire me, I will give you 110% of myself, and I will dedicate my professional life to this institution. And that, to me, it's gold. Yep. Because what I'm hearing is, if you hire me, I will work tirelessly to elevate Fresno State, which translates to elevating the Valley as a whole. And that means to me that they will make this place their home. Like literally their home. This is not a stepping stone. This is not a springboard towards another fancy whatever position elsewhere. They're willing to invest and to take root and to say, I belong and it belongs to me. So at the end, I had to say to myself, I'm gonna trust my instinct. I'm gonna trust my gut and go with someone whom I think is going to really, become part of who we are here. I mean, he was coming from Texas at that point. Mm-hmm. But what we've seen in a year, and I love that email that he sent, this is what I've done in a year. Mm-hmm. Because that specifically showcases what happens when someone dedicates their mind, their heart, into the position in a meaningful, intentional way.
You were also on the hiring committee for Fresno State head coach Martinez, and I absolutely love what he's building here, but why did he stick out to you?
He stuck out to me because he had a very organized way of saying, this is how I'm going to get us from here to here. Mm-hmm. And it was organized, and it was focused, and it was just transparent. That's what it was. And the background that he had, he has already gone to a championship before, twice. Mm-hmm. The dedication that I saw in him felt right for the region. It felt right for Fresno State. It felt like it aligned with what we needed. And we have seen, the results of that. Yeah. We saw the first game. We saw the first game 13-14. We were down by 1. And life to me is not about, am I going to have a problem or not? Mm-hmm. Right? Life to me is about how will I respond on the spot, retool, bounce back, reconfigure, and then adapt in such a way that I will be able to overcome the challenge. Mm-hmm. So challenges come my way left and right. Challenges come our way all the time, left and right. So the big issue for me when I'm hiring a leader is, will they be able to overcome and to compensate for the overwhelming challenges that come our way in a creative, flexible way that are going to allow them to just navigate through and say, we did it. And we did it because we were creative in putting together this portfolio that then elevated and turned the game around, which we clearly saw in the first game. I mean, it was this incredible showcase of, okay, we got it. We learned what you're about. Mm-hmm. We adapted, readapted, reconfigured, and then we responded with this incredible, explosive game. And at the end, same thing happened with Oregon State, right? Mm-hmm. It was exactly the same thing, right? But at the end, of the first game, when I spoke to, the president, he came to me and he said, we tried our best, but at the end, you knew what to do.
Exactly. And, 64% of that roster is new. They have a transfer quarterback.
That's right.
Sometimes at the end of a game, when it's a one-possession game, teams will fall apart, right?
Totally.
And this one didn't. And I think that shows the leadership, it shows the structure, and shows the culture as well.
But it shows, Taylor, as well, that there's a discipline. And I'm going to use an analogy from my own background, right? I was doing University of Humanities after all. If you practice the piano each and every day, and if you give the piano the intentional time and dedication, the focus that you need, right? So I'm going to practice a song, and I'm not going to be, checking my phone for email, and I'm not going to be checking my phone for LinkedIn or anything else, right? I'm going to just focus on that moment, on just practicing the muscle memory of it all. And the piano is treacherous, right? Because if you have not done your homework, in a heartbeat, you'll screw up on the spot. There's going to be one note that's off. The tempo is going to be off. Something is going to be off that is going to completely betray you, right? It is this type of muscle memory that is built up on practice and discipline that I'm seeing with this team, in this season.
And then the Pac-12.
Sure.
The Pac-12 is realigning. You pushed really heavy for that. Why did you want that to be the next step for Fresno State?
The Pac-12 represents for Fresno State this level of exposure to the country that we have never had before. That, at the core of everything that we are doing, it's showcasing our community, our excellence, and that 25% of food that we produce for the entire country. So here's the deal, right? In order for others to like you, you have to like yourself. You literally have to like yourself. We in the Valley, and I say this as somebody who grew up here, we have a little chip on our shoulders, right? Mm-hmm. Because we think that anything and everything on the coast is better than we are. I remember being here and hearing Monterey all the time, and being a sixth grader and going home completely undoing myself, right? Coming apart because I was going to go to Monterey on a field trip. I told my mom and dad. And then I go to Monterey, March. And I see Monterey, and it's overcast, and it's windy, and it's cold.
Yep.
I don't do well with cold.
No, me
right?
either. Me either.
I came back to Fresno. I was like, this is it. This is where I belong, right?
Sunshine. Mm-hmm.
So the point of this story is the following. Oftentimes, we don't know what our own worth is. And I'm hoping that in showcasing the excellence of the Valley to the entire U.S. in a much elevated way, we are going to return to ourselves and say, we're actually really good. We love ourselves and we're proud of ourselves. So again, it's all about the region. It's all about how it is that my presidency is intentional on elevating Fresno State, not for the sake of Fresno State in its own, but for the sake of these friends, family, these neighbors that I have within this region. Showcasing ourselves and our excellence to the world is primary to me. Yep. And that's where the Pac-12 is. The Pac-12 is going to open doors of exposure that we as an institution, we as a region have never had before.
You're at a lot of games, both home and away, cheering alongside everyone else. What do you personally enjoy the most about Fresno State games?
The most, I enjoy seeing our dog score, clearly.
Yeah.
Nothing fills me more with joy than seeing that scoreboard go up in our favor. But I also enjoy the family aspect of it. I enjoy that, my son Leo, my youngest, is like a diehard Fresno State fan. He knows every statistic that you can throw his way, and he'll be able to engage with you on many sports as well. I love seeing the friends and neighbors out there. I love seeing the people who feel connected to the region by the university. I love seeing the kids on the stands and wearing their gear and projecting themselves 10, 13 years from now and saying to themselves, I'm going to come to Fresno State. I love seeing how the community just comes together. I will say that I think we have to do a better job at showcasing the impact that Fresno State has on the everyday life of the Valley. So we are going to work on more storytelling about how integral, how essential Fresno State is to the Valley as a whole. And I think that's going to be a full circle once it's there.
So there's a lot of students listening to this right now, and
Sure.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
So as a student, what advice would you give to us about making the most of our time here at Fresno State?
I would say that you enjoy your time at Fresno State. You think that 4 years is a long time, but 4 years go in a blink of an eye.
Yep, they do.
And once the 4 years are gone, they're gone forever. Like literally, they're gone forever, right? I'll give you an example. I studied in Portugal, like I said before. I studied in Lisbon. And when I was in Lisbon, I would have like my routine, right? I would go to class. And then after that, my friends and I would go to like this nearby cafe. And we would just gather there and eat Portuguese sweets. And sometimes have a little drink here or there, or whatever else. And it was just this incredible time of like being in a time and a space that was so enjoyable. It took me, I think, 25 years to go back to Lisbon. And I took Mariana and the kids, and I took them to the places that were very meaningful to me. This is, the cafe where I would come after class, on a pretty regular basis. This is the place where I would get the sweets. This is the place where I would do like some of my shopping or whatever else, right? And in that moment, I realized that time, that space, it's never gonna come back again. It's gone forever. The memory is there, but it's gone forever. So, carpe diem, right? Seize the moment. I would say savor the moment. Savor the moment of your Bulldog era. Like savor the moment of knowing these friends that you've known through Fresno State that have helped you develop the best version of yourself. Savor the moment that is forging you into this individual, this professional that is going to be a leader once you graduate. So I would seriously say, when you're taking a test, put a smile on your face. Like literally put a smile. Be grateful for the fact that you're taking the test and that you're able to showcase your knowledge on this subject matter. And if you put a smile on your face, believe me, your adrenaline is going to go up, your anxiety is going to go down, and you will be able to do better on that test. So I would just simply say, like, enjoy these moments that are once in a lifetime moments that will never return, but will be foundational for you from this point on.
That was a really bittersweet one, especially as a student. Like, you're right, we do get really caught up in everything else about the tests and how stressful this is and how stressful work is. And you're right, we never get this back.
So do you remember being a senior in high school?
I do.
That sense of dread and that sense of like, this cannot be over is going to repeat itself when you're about to graduate. But in that sense, it's going to be compounded with a sense of now you have to go into the workforce, the real world, right? So that's why I'm saying to you, like, this is precious time that has to be like savored. You don't get like a deep chocolate flourless cake and just like gulp it down. You savor it like slowly, right? With your tea or coffee or whatever it is, and you say to yourself, this is really good and really enjoyable.
I agree. And it's never the big moment. Well, you remember the big moments, but it really is the little moments.
It's the little moments.
The thing I miss most about college is just getting ready in the bathroom with all my roommates and sharing makeup and sharing clothes. And now we don't get to do that anymore. So definitely embrace all moments. Right.
I totally agree with you. I think oftentimes we think of college as a race. I'm going to take all of these classes and then I'm going to graduate and I'm going to go to my next stage. Whereas college is not, the culmination of college is, of course, the diploma, which is very important. But it's not the paper that's important. It's the knowledge, and then behind the knowledge, it's the experience. It's that wealth of information that you get from knowing other people, from being challenged in class, from being like sharpened in class in so many ways by so many of our good professors. So with that, somebody once asked me, if you could do something that you have not done, what would you do? I would take a class. And I would just simply take a class and take it all in from this one expert that has dedicated their life to this one subject, that wants to teach me something, that wants to, allow me to grow in ways that I have not yet. So I would totally do that. So now we see, classes as a chore if you're a student, but I would flip it on its head, right? It's a privilege. It's a moment that is a moment of celebration, of growth, emotionally, academically and otherwise.
Thank you.
Thank you
sure.
for that. And thank you for joining us today.
Of course.
And coming in. We love to have you. Mm-hmm. And for everyone watching, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Pawd.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.